The anti-maskers are getting even more disgusting, if you can imagine that. At Hawthorne Elementary School in Beverly Hills, California, a group of anti-maskers showed up with signs and flyers protesting mask rules, and they are accosting children at school. They're accosting kids, telling them, among other things, don't wear the mask smells bad, the mask is bad. These are kids doing what their parents and the school have decided they're going to do. And the protesters show up and tell them not to wear masks. Let's look at one clip. It's visual mostly, but you'll also, just from listening, get a little bit of a sense of the atmosphere. They are handing out flyers to children. And in this next clip, you will actually hear a protester telling a kid, I'm sure you hate that mask. I'm sure it smells bad. Don't wear it.
I'm positive you hate that mask. And it smells bad. Let's be honest, no one likes the mask, so I don't know what they're wearing.
Sometimes you do something that isn't that fun because it's what the rules are and because of some greater good. I'm the first one to say, I don't think the outdoor masking has ever made sense. And we're now hearing from more medical doctors who are basically saying the same thing. But the indoor masking does make a difference. And aside from the depraved nature of telling kids to ignore the health guidelines that a school has established, don't they realize that these are children? It is incredibly intimidating for adults to show up and talk to kids like this and yell stuff at them. And one of the impressions I got from watching video of the protesters is that there's a real kind of like QAnon stop the steal type energy or vibe to these people, not just their physical appearance, which is definitely part of it, but just the demeanor, everything about it. And I was looking around at different commentaries on this, and John Scott Railton from the University of Toronto tweeted about the exact same thing, saying, quote, context some may find interesting. A lot of Stop the Steal movement energy, ditto QAnon, has poured into anti-vaccine agitating. Prepare for more of this kind of thing. And of course, it's borne out in the numbers. We know that 43% of Republicans don't want to get the vaccine. They are some of the primary drivers of the anti-vaccine sentiment. In addition, we know that both Russia and China are operating on social media to foment anti-vaccine sentiment. And of course, as the 2016 election showed us and other examples, older right-wingers are the most likely to fall for amplifying what I would call destabilizing propaganda from foreign countries. And of course, what better way to destabilize the U.S. than to encourage people not to do the one thing that will get us out of the pandemic, which is get vaccinated. Now, there are lots of questions about whether this type of quote, protest is protected by the First Amendment. As a general principle, it is. Showing up there and holding signs that say no masks or whatever. But one might imagine that when it comes to starting to yell at children at their school, when it comes to strangers approaching kids at school, doesn't it go over into harassment? Certainly standing there, not blocking the sidewalk, holding an anti-mask sign. Absolutely no question about that. But they also appear to sort of be blocking the sidewalk. They may be interfering with kids getting in and out of school. They're yelling at children. And of course, if anyone tried to shut them down, they would immediately say, this is the government silencing us, taking our First Amendment right. I'm not even suggesting they be shut down. It's better to tell the kids to ignore them, maybe even set up a way to get kids in and out of school without being subject to this. I have no idea if that's possible given the layout. But is there no limit to this where we're now talking about yelling at children, harassing little kids about masks? Maybe there should be some buffer zone law like there is with campaigning at polling places where, sure, listen, you have a First Amendment right. You can campaign for whoever you want. You can hold signs. But on election day, you have to be a certain distance from where people are voting. Otherwise, it could be considered intimidation. Maybe there's something with schools as well, because we're talking about kids. I don't know. I'm thinking out loud here. They're almost turning the school into the same type of gauntlet that anti-abortion activists will try to turn the entrance area to a medical clinic for women considering an abortion. It's a similar type of harassment, except more vile, because these are children who are going by what their parents and school officials are saying are going to be the rules. As a country, when you see video of anti-maskers yelling at children and harassing kids at school, that doesn't bode well for the United States as a country. When you see that, that's a red flag that things may be going in a very bad direction. Let me know your thoughts. We're going to have more coverage of this on our Instagram page. You can find The David Pakman Show on Instagram at David Pakman Show. You can also find me on Instagram at david.pakman. One of our sponsors is CuriosityStream, letting my audience try it free for an entire month. CuriosityStream is a streaming service offering thousands of documentaries from some of the world's best filmmakers, including exclusive originals. And CuriosityStream is just like the Netflix for documentaries. It's perfect for anybody who loves politics, history, science, just documentaries in general. I've been watching a ton of CuriosityStream. I can watch on my TV, my phone, my tablet. And one of the first things I noticed about CuriosityStream is that these are high quality documentaries, not the cheap documentaries on many other streaming services. I've noticed CuriosityStream has the biggest and newest titles from the most respected documentary filmmakers. My favorite so far has been What is Reality by David Eagleman. I've read his books and the documentary is fantastic. CuriosityStream is just $2.99 a month or $19.99 for a whole year, but my audience can try it free for a month when you go to curiositystream.com/Pakman and use the promo code Pakman.